As soon as I find my glasses. Yeah, that would have been good. Ow. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hi, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour. A cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we are at the fabulous Wayfair on Ferret Street, which I'm sure you know by now is the home of Not Your Mama's Frosé, which is a perfect summer drink, a frozen cocktail made with dry rosé, vodka, Saint Germain, Peychaud's, bitters, lemon juice, and a house-made strawberry basil syrup. And you can enjoy that anytime here at Wayfair. They have a 3-hour happy hour here from 4 to 7 every single day of the week for half-price drinks. I have 3 authors on the show today. And every single one of these authors is not actually a full-time author. Okay. Everybody here has got a book. Yeah. This is a pretty high-powered bunch of guys here. Fred LeBlanc from Cowboy Mouth is here.
Good to see you.
Fred, good to see you again. I haven't seen you for a long, long time.
It's been about, what, like about 5 years?
Has it been that long,
I think
really?
so, yeah.
God,
so, yeah.
That's just ridiculous. And Poppy Tooker is here.
Yes, darling.
Star of stage, screen, and an author as well.
Taking over the universe.
Taking over the universe,
with a bevy of drag queens.
With drag queens. Author of the new book called Drag Queen Brunch.
Yes, darling.
Which you've managed to combine brunch and drag queens in some sort of unholy alliance.
It's a lifestyle book. People say, oh, Poppy, you wrote another cookbook? Because this is my 6th book. But I just tell them, no, it's a lifestyle book with recipes.
What is the most important part of it? Drag queens or brunch, or is it equal?
The drag queens are totally the most important part. This is all about those beautiful girls and the amazing transformation. I know that you know that this doesn't happen by accident.
What are we looking at? We're talking about your...
We're talking about me and my hair,
elegant and beautiful you are.
My hair and my makeup and my jewelry.
Sounds like a lot of work.
My wardrobe selection. And guess what?
Yes.
If I wasn't a woman and had like some basic stuff to start off with, I might have had to start this about 3 hours earlier. Like, I have ultimate respect for those drag queen brunch gals because they are up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
First of all, they're not girls at all, right? They're guys.
Exactly.
Right.
They're all.
That's the first thing.
That's right. They're all boys.
Right. Scott Wolf is here too. Yeah. Scott, how are you doing?
Wolf Senior.
Scott Wolf Senior. Good point.
I'm great. It only took me about 15 minutes to get ready.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go.
You look nice in this outfit. Where'd you get this shirt from?
Well, thank you. Actually, mytailor.com.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You get your shirts made by a tailor?
You know, it's amazing. Mytailor.com, mtailor.com. You take your cell phone, you put it in the corner, and you strip down to your underwear, and you turn around, and it takes a video of you. Takes all your measurements and you just pick the clothes and it comes tailored. It's amazing. It's my new tailor.
That's not true, is it?
mtailor.com.
You didn't make that up, did you?
Really?
Okay, run us through that again.
It's wonderful.
You take your clothes off apart from your underwear.
Correct.
And you somehow do a selfie video.
That's correct.
By yourself. Can you do a demo of that?
What about those of us who go commando?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
They promise to delete the video, is what they say.
That was going to be my next question.
Right.
I want that floating around the internet.
M. Taylor. Right there.
Look at that. That's great.
mtailor.com.
That looks just like
it.
Yeah, so when you sign up, you put it in, you set it down the corner, and it positions you. You got a little like invisible man. You got to line yourself up in, and you start the video, 10 or 15 seconds. You turn completely around, tells you it's good to go, and then you got you order clothes, and it comes completely
So
trim.
it's a tailor-made shirt,
great.
and it
Pants
fits
too.
perfect
Shorts.
pants.
Everything's
Is it
perfect.
Is
Take
it
that,
men's
Poppy.
clothes? Is it men's clothes only?
I think they have women's clothes
If
as well.
they have women's clothes, do
believe
you
so.
know what that would do for drag queens? Because do you
Empty-
know how
What?
hard it is to get those clothes in those sizes?
Yeah, now we should get a commission for it.
This is, before we start getting too excited
Put the
about it.
copyright. Put the copyright out there.
I like that.
Okay.
That's good.
So
Right.
we haven't really done an introduction of you. Scott is the owner of Melba's Poboys on the corner of Elysian Fields and North Claiborne. Is it North Claiborne Avenue?
North Claiborne, yes, sir.
Which is-
America's busiest Poboy shop.
America's busiest Poboy shop.
Yes,
nice.
sir.
It is.
Yep.
It's amazing what's happened to that. And before that, of course, if you've lived in New Orleans for a while, you'll know that Scott is the owner and the creator of Wagner's Meat. You
Which
can't
could
beat
beat
Wagner's
Can't beat
Meat,
Wagner's
exactly.
Meat.
And then chicken box.
And Chicken Box
Chicken
as
box.
well.
Oh
Yeah,
my
chicken box.
God.
So now
Yeah,
you two
my-
guys know each other from some other
Oh, yes.
lifetime. How
There,
do you know each
his boy Scott, his oldest boy Scott Jr.
Yes.
was a Cowboy Mouth fan in like the mid '90s.
Yep.
And he turned us onto this thing called the internet, and I'm like, what the hell is that? What are you talking about, nerd? So then we ended up hiring to do our first websites back in the early to mid '90s, and Scott's been a
Yeah.
friend and a fan
Wow.
for years, and
And now Scott
In-
Wolf
in
Jr.
fact, in fact, in high school, Scott Jr. used to follow Cowboy Mouth everywhere.
everywhere, yeah.
That we started to get worried, and then Jane and I said, we got to go find out what this band is and who this guy Fred is, you know. And then we fell in love with Fred and Cowboy Mouth as well. You know,
Wow.
we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, good friends ever
That
since.
is cool. And now Scott is a super success story himself.
Yeah.
Yes, my son's
He's
doing
got
very
a
well.
company
yes.
called Level Set.
Levelset.com. Yes, they are a nationwide company, a venture capitalist company, and they file liens, mechanical liens on property around the U.S. And they're doing very, very well. They got offices in Egypt, Austin, Texas, and New Orleans now, about 180 employees.
Why does he have
Doing
an
very
office
well.
in Egypt, of all places?
Egypt, I think they do a lot of code writing in Egypt, and
really?
maybe there's a connection up in Egypt. I believe.
So Egypt is the new India?
Egypt is the new India. That's correct. Yeah.
Well, I can't think didn't they invent algebra in Egypt?
Eventually, it'll be a global company because a lot of countries have the same common law as America.
Right.
So
Do they?
eventually, it'll spill over to.
Well, that's very
That's
impressive.
great.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So
Was it
can't
that same
you-
company he was doing before, or
Yes,
is it
yeah,
just
they-
a different name?
They changed the name. Correct.
changed
Yeah, it was
That's
called
awesome.
Zealand
Zealand,
originally.
Correct.
See, the original Zealand building on Britannia Street is still there with the...
Yeah, that's Scott's property, and he still owns that property. He rents it out, and then now they've moved to two larger buildings
Right.
on Magazine Street.
Great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
why
he's
do you have to keep working? Can't he just support you?
I don't know why I have to keep working.
You know, these guys, their story,
Yeah.
him and Scott
Jane.
Do you
Senior and
like to
Jane's
chew
story.
ice, Fred?
I do.
He likes to chew
Scott-
ice during interviews.
Have you
Scott
ever done that?
Senior and
Chew.
Jane's story is very, very incredible and very, very inspirational. You want to
thank
go
you.
into it, or you want me
Okay.
to tell you it?
Who wants to
Yeah,
go
you
first?
started off.
Well, what happened was Scott was, what were you, like 16?
17.
17
Yeah.
years
Yeah,
old.
17.
17 years old, and Jane, his girlfriend, was
15,
15, and they became pregnant with Scott Jr.
I didn't
Oh, they
become
had-
pregnant.
Well, Jane
Parents.
became
Okay.
pregnant.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
She was 15 and you were 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
we-
schools were you at?
Jane was Holy Angels.
Shellman,
Had
that's
a
funny
good
right
Catholic
there.
girl, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm public school. I'm Shellman High. We're both from
Shellman.
Saginaw Parish.
And what was
Yeah.
the sex ed situation back then?
Apparently non-existent.
Yeah, it's not,
They-
We
They
skipped
don't
out of
sound
that.
like they needed classes.
you?
yeah.
But what happened was, instead of, like falling victim to all the usual traps, am I right? You went and bought a convenience store.
A grocery store in the
You bought a
neighborhood.
grocery store in the neighborhood.
At 17?
And, yeah.
No, not
that's it.
17 and 19. 19. We
19
saved a little
and
money.
wow.
Yeah.
And then
19.
she had,
Which was Wagner's.
yeah, Wagner's.
It
yeah.
was a bankrupt, closed Wagner's in the Ninth Ward.
Where was that? In the Ninth Ward?
In the
You know,
Ninth Ward.
Desire and Galvez.
How does a 19-year-old get enough money to go buy a grocery store?
It was bankrupt. So
Yeah, but-
it only cost $20,000, and
Who gave you $20,000?
well, that's a good question. For 2 years, we saved $10,000, and we had to take a partner in for the other $10,000. And the store was only doing about $200 a day. It was a good opportunity, but the store was not doing very well. And our partner, he was a bail bondsman, very nice guy. We're friends to this day, but it wasn't his cup of tea. So we were working from dusk till dawn, and I remember he was putting groceries up one night, and we were only doing $300 a day. And he was Todd, and my wife Jane told him, "Hey, Mike, how'd you like to double your $10,000? If you don't like this, we'll double your money. And Mike took his apron off right there and walked out the door. And then the next couple of weeks and months, it took off, fairly quickly, because all they really needed was some attention and some inventory.
Yeah.
So how did you know what the hell to do? Are you just a natural business?
No, well, Jane's father is in the grocery business. My father was a contractor growing up, so we both came from some entrepreneurial roots. I worked for her dad in the grocery store. He had a little grocery store as well, and he had a little successful grocery store. So I learned the grocery business from him, some basic business principles from my dad, and then you learn everything else the hard way, right?
Scott Jr. was telling me stories about being raised in the grocery store, and and then y'all bought another one. And when it started doing well, and then it just turned into the whole Wagner's meat franchise.
Yeah, right. We grew it to 10 locations throughout New Orleans.
But
300 employees for 30 years.
What? And somewhere along the line, you got the idea to concentrate on meat.
Well, Wagner's Meats is what we inherited. That was
the name of the store that you bought.
Did you get the slogan?
No, we didn't get the slogan. The slogan was an accident. Slogan was...
It's not the kind of accident you want to have.
Yeah. Actually, a customer came in, and we had a 36-foot-long meat case. Customer came in shopping the meat counter.
36 feet of meat.
And
36.
And then remember, a woman brought her sister there, and she said, "Look, I told you can't beat their meat." And I said, "Wow, that's pretty catchy."
That's
right?
That's a blessing. Man.
That was a blessing.
And y'all made a lot of money selling those shirts.
That's right. We call it listening to the land. If you listen to the land, you pay attention, you can evolve.
It's like writing a song. You listen to what the song's trying to tell you it wants.
That's right.
It's like,
Right.
It's the
Same
same
thing.
thing.
Follow
That's
that.
right.
So you've been married to Jane now since you were 17 and
years.
she was 15.
40 years.
40 years.
Okay.
Yes.
And-
48.
No, 40.
Oh,
Another
gee.
40.
Okay.
40 years, yes.
So-
Yes.
Jane, the last time I saw Jane was at a little event at Zeeline, and we were just hanging out, and Jane and Scott are the most unassuming people, just the kindest people you ever meet. Jane, what have you been up to? I did some school, and I got my master's degree. I was like, oh, yeah, what was it? Oh, I did this kind of thing and that kind of thing. It's like, oh, where was the school? Yeah, Harvard. I was like, what? Yeah, I went to Harvard. It's like,
She got an MBA from
Harvard in Chalmette, or Harvard. It's like,
Well, actually, she went to Tulane, which is the Harvard of the South,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
for undergrad.
Okay.
This is after we retired from Melba's. We retired from Wagner's. And the kids were gone. Scotty went and did his own thing. My daughter got married, so the kids were gone, and we didn't have a lot to do. So Jane's a high school grad, GED, as well as I am.
All right.
And so she went to Tulane and went through the community section
college
of
program?
of Tulane, right? She did very well with it, and she converted that to the Newcomb side and graduated with a double degree at Tulane, and then she applied to Harvard for a master's degree. And we went up there in 2012. She graduated in 2015, so we lived in Boston for 3 years.
And what is her, what's her area of expertise?
Yeah, she's a master's of theology from Harvard Divinity.
And she got a master's of theology.
Yeah, and she's
I thought she had an MBA.
Right now, she's an ad hoc professor at Tulane and ad hoc professor at University of Holy Cross, and she's the smartest one in the family now.
Wow.
Now.
So
Right. I'm the dumbest one in the family.
okay.
I
So
won't tell
what's
them
it
about
like being married for 40 years from 17 years old?
Oh, well, it's been wonderful. Jane's a wonderful woman.
But how have you made that successful? Did you just get lucky that the girl you knocked up at high school ended up being awesome? Or have you actually figured out a way to stay married? Because I think we'd all like to know.
just
The rest of us
amazed.
would like to know
both,
that.
yeah.
You want to know the secret, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the deal
what
here?
is-
Johnny Cash said it was the secret to a successful marriage was separate bathrooms.
Ah.
There's something
Okay.
he said
Well,
to
yeah,
that.
Jane, my wife tells everybody the secret is that we both have the same sleeping schedule, right? We both go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time, we kind of have the same habits, and we work
Okay.
together. And
That's even more reason to drive you apart, I would think.
Yeah.
A lot
Well,
of people
yeah.
can't. I
Yeah.
couldn't be in the same office with my ex-husband. We both
Yeah.
had home offices, and it had to be on different floors eventually.
That's why it's
But we supported each other. We
Exactly.
have supported each other with everything that we've done.
Right.
We both supported each other with the business that we did. We had the same focus on our children. Jane's, supported her in her endeavors in school. right? So we support each other
But
in the things they
we've
want to do.
all tried that too, Fred. Are you divorced now?
I'm divorced.
Okay, so
yeah.
but you supported your wife at the time you were married, and she
Yeah.
supported you, and your husband supported you, Poppy.
Darling, I never have had, well, a little bit, that last husband, the last 10 years of it. But remember, that almost killed me. Remember, 2 heart attacks and all that? And this is just
Your
such
husband, do you think it was your marriage that gave you heart attacks?
Hell yeah. I'm well now. How long have you known me?
A long
Greg?
time.
A very long time. And I'm a completely different person than I was at the time of the heart attacks in
Well, I'm glad
2013.
you're not dead.
I died
Oh,
twice, but I'm
really?
back from the dead.
Did you go to
better.
the other side?
But you know what?
No,
I
you
just
didn't.
know.
That's a
I
good question,
lost-
Fred. What happened when you
I
I
died,
lost
Poppy?
5 days entirely.
You what?
I lost 5 days.
Did you
Just-
did you have a near-death experience? Did you?
No, I just
Nothing happened
lost
to you?
5 days.
You didn't seem to go to the light or any of this stuff.
No, I woke up 5 days later and they were acting like something was really wrong, but there was no visible sign that anything bad had happened, and I was pissed off because
Were you?
I had just left my ex-husband and been out of the house 11 days.
And 5 of those days, you're in a...
No, then I have the heart attack and I'm in the hospital for
Okay,
5
so
days.
hang on. So the opposite is true then. It was not being with your husband that gave you a heart attack. Not being with him.
It was the stress.
That's a stretch, buddy. That's a stretch.
Yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous, Grant.
Okay.
How long were you married? It was
20
just one.
years.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
married?
was easy getting out. I remember how that went. So,
No,
you
it's
know.
not easy getting out. It's
Yes,
horrible. That's
it's
why I'm
horrible.
interested in
That's
how
how I had a heart
the
attack.
worst thing
But
ever.
what is fascinating to me about his story is, you see, I didn't get knocked up when I was 15.
Right.
But I am a big believer in like the mama duck thing. Whatever the little duckling, when it wakes up and goes, oh, that's what that is. You do like this imprint thing. And that is why the most magical thing in the world is that now, actually 46 years later, the man who did not knock me up is back in my life.
Okay. This is
There
the
we
Sounds
original.
like
go.
Facebook.
This is
The difference was that there was a little bit of an age difference, just a little bit more of an age difference. But it was the 70s. Surely you remember the 70s.
I don't remember the 70s at all.
Oh,
so.
I was watching Bad News Bears the other day. You remember that?
Yes, that
What
was
a great
still a good movie.
That was like my
Still good.
70s childhood right there.
Bad News Bears. It's still good.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's thoroughly offensive. It couldn't get made today
Yeah,
because
right.
everybody offended. Everyone and their mother would be offended, but it's great.
Hey,
and it's
Fred,
hilarious.
we're
Yeah.
going to have to get onto your whole music career in a minute,
Yeah.
but before we do, you want to play something?
Sure. What do you
Grab
want
a
me to play?
guitar. What do you
Over
think?
here. What do you want to hear?
Oh, listen, we have a bunch of buttermilk drops as well.
buttermilk drop.
Yes, have you tried a buttermilk drop, Poppy?
No, darling. Where are they from? What's their
From
origin?
Melba's, yeah, they're from Melba's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Melba's as a whole. Have you been? Have you been into
That's
Melba's,
how
Poppy? Okay, we're going to get onto that after this song that Fred's going to play. We're going to talk about Melba's because
All right.
it is an
Give me
amazing
one of those
place.
things.
So, Fred, you've been doing a lot of solo stuff as well as
Some stuff.
the Cowboy Mouth world.
Anything to pay the bills,
So,
All right, so what do you want me to do here?
well, it's kind of like a dealer's choice. What would you like to play?
Oh, I have a lot of stuff.
You want to play
hear
something,
upbeat or
one of your own,
New Orleans?
one of your own songs? Nothing to do with Cowboy Mouth. That's because I think
Let's
people who don't know
I'll
you.
play an old standard, an old Cowboy Mouth standard here. That if I can get the damn thing tuned. It's you, Poppy. I blame you for this. You know this.
This is delicious.
The buttermilk drops are awesome.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
so Scott, are these the original recipe from Mackenzie's or just?
We don't
your-
have we didn't have the Mackenzie recipe, but we have we got a friend, Dwight Henry, who's very popular with buttermilk
Ah,
drops. Yeah,
the guy from
drop
Buttermilk
cake.
Drop itself.
Yes, right, Buttermilk Drop himself, and he's a good friend of ours, and he taught us the recipe and how to do that.
Oh, so this is the buttermilk
He's a
drop
fan of
from
ours.
the buttermilk drop that used to be
Yeah.
on whatever
Yeah,
street.
you know,
was it?
Dwight's a movie star now. He
Yeah.
makes movies, right? Yeah, so he's a good friend of ours. He comes to Melba's all the time.
So does he still have that place on
I-
Edinburgh Street or wherever it was?
No,
in
I don't think so.
Mid-City?
I think he's doing movies full time now.
Oh wow. Okay, so that place was amazing. Those buttermilk drops and those donuts that he made there were extraordinary.
Yes, there were.
Have you got his recipe for donuts as well?
Well, we don't do. All we do is the buttermilk drop as our signature dessert. So
Right.
we're not in the
It's so
donut
good.
shop.
Isn't
Oh
it
my
great?
Yeah.
God,
And
it's
that's coming
delicious.
from New Orleans food expert.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Can we quote you on that?
This is the lucky number. Two's the lucky number. Her eyes are rolling back in her head. That's a good thing.
That's a good
Yeah. Like the guy who didn't knock you up.
Yep.
We'll get onto that, and we've got a lot of stuff to get onto.
Give it time.
First of all,
She's not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet.
Again.
And you didn't knock me out.
I have to write
There
that
we
down
go.
as well.
Write it down, Grant.
I'm writing it down. That could be. I'm not dead yet, and he didn't knock me out. That could be a good. That could be a good title for the today's show.
Ain't knocked up or knocked down.
Okay, Fred, what are you playing?
I don't know. Let's do. I'll do "Take Me Back to New Orleans."
Okay.
Okay, let's. Crank the guitar there, hippie.
The Texas sun beats down upon me like the devil's smile. I'd rather be anywhere else than here. Was it a blinding lack of subtlety or just a lack of style? Responding to the ways and means of fear. Take me back to New Orleans and to rob me at my door. 'Cause I might love you, yeah, but I love me more. My fingernails are bitten till there's nothing left but skin. I'd rather be anyone else right now. The light that shone within my eyes is slowly growing dim. She told me where, told me when, but never said how. Take me back to New Orleans and don't call me anymore. 'Cause I might love you, yeah, but I love me more. How can I make this unhappen? You cannot make this unhappen. Choose before the choices fade away. I could be home by tomorrow if I could beg, steal, or borrow. I said you're there, you might as well stay. The morning mist rises through another crack in the glass. The lack of sleep has made me numb. But sometimes when she sleeps, she'll turn and she'll whisper his name. That cake must taste great, but I'll pass when you offer me some. Take me back to New Orleans, then to rob me at my door. 'Cause I might love you, yeah, but I love me more. Take me back to New Orleans and don't call me anymore. 'Cause I might love you, yeah. I might love you, yeah. I might love you, yeah, but I love me more. I love me more. If I was a food, would I be delicious?
Nice. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Look at that.
Soft money, please.
Fred LeBlanc. Fred, that doesn't happen very often, to tell you the truth, when we've had people play here, all kinds of people.
Oh, really?
We even had a trumpet player sitting
Really?
there playing, and still nobody turned around and looked.
Oh, well, thanks.
So that's a very good sign when, when the people in the
just glad I
restaurant
didn't
here
get
at Wayfair
heckled.
come. You've still got it.
Down, fuzzy.
You still got it. Exactly
sure
the
does.
same as when you started out 30 odd years ago, or more. than
Oh yeah,
30.
I was actually in. I was in a band called Dash Rip Rock before Cowboy.
I
Mouth.
remember that.
Yeah, I played in there for 5 years, and every week, at some point, every week I was in that band. I was in that band for 4 or 5 years, and every week at some point I would say, "We could die. We could die."
Well, you could have died because
No,
of
I
the
mean it
stupid
was
shit
nuts.
you were doing.
It was nuts. It was nuts. I mean,
I saw you
we
many
got
times.
ourselves in really insane predicaments. But
Well, you would be playing drums and then climb up on whatever.
yeah, that was Cowboy Mouth. I was yeah.
Well, that was Cowboy Mouth. That
Yeah.
wasn't Dash. You did
Dash,
that
I
with?
would do things like I would throw furniture. Like there's this place we played in North Louisiana and had a giant, like human being sized Coca-Cola sign, and I would pull it off the wall and beat it in the middle of the room, and that was fun. And
Were you
go
just
swimming
young
in the
and
bars.
crazy?
Go to jail?
A couple of times, yeah.
Like any good
Like
rock
any good rocker.
star.
Yeah, I did actually. Good.
Okay, so we're going to get that is so. Are you still playing with Cowboy? I mean, Cowboy Mouth plays all the time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
There's like non-stop gigs. And what about your solo career? Are you playing?
No, I don't really have time for that. I
You're
do
not doing
like
it?
if I do like solo stuff, I do home shows. Like people will sometimes email me, and they'll say, "Hey, Fred, why don't you come to our house and play a show?" And I'll do that, and people will pay me.
Really?
And that's nice, and it's a lot easier than trying to get people to come out to a club and say, "Hey, come hear me play guitar for 2 hours," and so it's.
That's an interesting idea. So you do like home shows. And
do home
is
shows,
that
yeah.
affordable? Could a few people chip
Oh yeah,
in?
yeah. It's real easy. And just Fred at cowboymouth.com. Just write me
So
there.
you have to keep playing now to make a living,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
no other way. There's no record
Well, yeah,
business. There's no radio.
Yeah, you don't pay. You don't play. You don't get paid.
Right.
So.
What
And
about
for-
all those big residuals, Fred? What about the royalties from your children's book?
Other
Just
people
tell
have
us the
figured-
truth.
Other people have figured out a way to get those from me. So
The book we didn't get on. We haven't even mentioned your book.
Haven't
You're an
even
author.
mentioned the book. I'm an author. Yeah.
Fred, what's it called? Fred New Orleans
Fred the
Drummer
New Orleans
Boy.
Drummer Boy. It's a children's book. It's basically a Cowboy Mouth show in children's form. It's like a little boy named Fred who's a drummer and a singer, and he puts together a band, and the bass player's nervous, so the band encourages him. They play a great show, and a great time is had by all.
And what's the moral? Courage.
The moral is life is to be enjoyed, not endured. Actually, the moral in the book, because the bass player's scared, and so we write a song called "Don't Get Scared, Get Excited," because it's the same energy, just in a different direction.
Right.
So don't get
That's
scared,
nice.
get excited.
And it's the same publisher as your book, I believe, Poppy.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, Scott Campbell.
Scott Campbell, yeah, he's a great guy.
He's
I
a
love
trip,
him.
man.
I
He's
love
a
him. He's great, though.
So, is it just me, or being
Yes.
this close to a rock star makes
As
me?
a, you
Well, I'm right.
warm.
I'm
So
this
You're-
close to Scott, and I'm
I
getting
brought
kind of.
party favors.
these fans are very cool.
Well,
So these are
Tim Traplin designed these
Oh, yeah,
for
okay.
me. It's me and some of my girls, my beautiful girls.
doesn't have
And
your name on it though. So by the time I get this home and I sober up, I'm not going to remember
I
what
have
the.
to sign it,
Oh, you have to
darling.
sign it,
You
okay.
don't
That's
recognize
a trick.
me?
Don't sober up.
Which
You
one
can't
are you?
Oh, God almighty.
Which one aren't you?
How long have you known me? Take
okay.
a big guess.
Okay, this is pretty cool. This is a good idea. This
Thank
is a
you.
real New Orleans thing.
Well,
that
it
is
is
fans.
a real New Orleans thing.
Yeah.
Tim Traplin, you're no one in New Orleans unless he's painted your
Oh, really?
portrait.
Okay.
And he is the
Nobody.
artist
I
of
guess
the
I'm
realm.
nobody.
You're in that
Yeah.
boat.
God, how does it feel to
Has
be
Tim
nobody?
Traplin painted
Well,
your
been
portrait?
nobody all my
do
life.
you ride in Rex?
Not yet.
Okay,
And
well,
Rex.
you see, he
Ride
is.
ducks.
Tim is the artist to the realm. You see,
Oh, I see.
and
Ah,
he's
okay.
and I mean he's really something. But you know what? You might recognize this style from are the covers of the menus at Commander's Palace, and the In the Land of Cocktails book.
Okay.
That's right there back.
Well,
at
you're
the,
living in a different sort of stratosphere than most of us, I think. Yeah.
Oh God.
I get that
So-
feeling. I get that feeling just sitting next to her. Yeah.
Okay, so Poppy.
I told
this
you
is-
none. I told you none of this happens by accident.
Exactly.
So this whole drag queen thing
Yes,
that you're
darling.
into now.
Yeah, that I'm into now.
You haven't been doing this your whole life, but you know what I'm
No,
interested
boo.
in? I wanted to know, you're the person who can explain this. This whole drag queen thing is not just here in New Orleans. We've had a drag queen sort of subculture in New Orleans forever, as far as I'm aware.
Absolutely. Because this is one of the only places where it was always legal to dress in drag one day of the year. And
Really?
so,
You mean Mardi Gras Day?
from the 1720 earlies, okay?
But was it
The ma-
illegal to cross-dress?
Every
it
other
was against
day.
the law.
It was against the law
Wow.
every other day.
Really?
And and those laws stayed on. The sodomy laws were on the books forever.
Why would somebody bother passing a law that says you can't wear certain items of clothing?
Oh,
Doesn't that seem...
Grant, you're
Really?
showing
They
Seriously?
didn't
your.
have the internet back then to distract them. They had to
But
think of things.
why would anyone even think about doing that, though? I
A
mean,
lot of people would ask you why anyone would ever think about a man putting on a dress. A lot of
that's
people
what I
would
was
say
going to
the
ask
same
you. That
thing.
exactly what I'm going to ask you that question. Why do people do it?
Oh,
Why is there suddenly this
Well, I'll give you-
RuPaul-ism?
Well,
Why
a lot of it
birds
has to do.
suddenly appear?
I'll show you some
That's
birds.
a beautiful song.
I'll show you some birds.
Show me some birds.
Poppy,
Bob.
can
Show
you
me some birds,
explain
Bob.
though? Can you
Yeah.
explain
I got
why
your free bird
America
right here,
is so
baby.
in love with drag queens?
Well, a lot of it has to do with RuPaul.
Yes.
Okay, RuPaul kicked down the doors and really changed a lot
Okay,
of things.
but the question is still, why
That's
did
10
people
years
embrace
now.
that?
That's 10 years in the making.
Okay, but why did people embrace it? What is it about an otherwise conservative country
I'm not sure
that's given
about,
us President
here's
Trump
what I have
and
learned.
Vice President Pence?
I have learned that straight men, depending on their cultural orientation, are a little like, not so sure about that.
Right.
Then everyone in the LGBTQ community embraces that this is what it's all about. It's all about self-expression and being whatever you want to be.
Right.
Because what I have discovered, all of us four at this table, I know that Fred is a youngster, but we are people of a certain age. And I find it very surprising that the 20 and 30 somethings describe sexuality as being fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I never thought about fluidity and sexuality, but there's people who they're not identifying with either he or him or
Right.
she, or they want to be they. There's very, very confusing stuff. But why do women love drag queens?
Okay.
Because you go to any of these brunches and it's filled with women. I think that we have all, women, I'm speaking for us girls, have been so accustomed to this sort of sorority that we have, this sort of like female thing that we stick together because we've all had a lot to overcome, and still there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the world from a woman's point of view. Well, drag queens, they're just girls of a different stripe, and they have their own sorority in a sense. And I think finally in the 21st century, these two sort of groups of gals are finding each other and finding great delight in this. I mean,
Okay.
dear God, all my best makeup tips come from drag
Oh, that's
queens.
interesting. What
It's
is
just, so like they're like women with really big clitorises they can urinate out of, right?
what is really going on here, though?
Well, let me
You doing
What is
okay,
really
Scott?
going
You
on?
doing
Is
okay,
it-
buddy? Scott, you okay?
I just
Okay.
realized that she has a knife around her neck.
Oh,
Did you
she
see
has
that?
a knife around.
Yes.
Just to spread the mayonnaise at Melba's.
I'm a chef. I mean,
Right?
that's
I
one of-
love it. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank
I was
you.
wondering where you got that from.
Thomas Mann, local
Yeah,
jeweler.
I love it,
Absolutely.
yes.
But I'd like
Yeah.
to explain to you. Like,
Okay.
for instance,
Look at
here is my beautiful Lana O'Day.
This is a local New Orleans.
This is a
Drag
local
queen.
New Orleans drag queen.
Funny that the word
Lana-
drag queen is cool too, isn't it?
Excuse me, what?
Wouldn't you think the term drag queen would be sort of insulting?
No,
It's not. It's
it's a compliment.
is it?
Queen? When was that ever an insult?
I don't
and
know.
Drag,
I just thought cross-dressing
no,
would
no,
be
no,
more
no,
of
no.
a-
There are other very nasty words. Don't call anyone a fashion faggot. That word faggot is very offensive. Don't use that word.
Okay. Good
and-
advice.
But
what
what's
about?
on the other hand,
shut up, faggot.
what's fascinating to me though is that when I was growing up, like the word queer, it was like a bad thing. If you
Right.
were like, aren't they queer? Like middle school queer. And what is fascinating to me in the alphabet soup of LGBTQ, that
Q's good
community.
because Q's everything. You can
that-
be anything if you're
yeah,
Q. That's your
and
fluid.
they have reclaimed that word. I think
What
that's
about
fascinating.
transvestite? Is that in or out as a
No, well,
word?
I think it's okay. Yeah, but you see,
That's
but that
something different, though.
Well, no, transvestite, transsexual.
Transsexual is the T in
What song you got
LGBTQ.
coming?
What song is that?
It's transsexual. that
Yes,
is-
but the-
that's
Okay.
transvestite is just another word for cross-dressing
Right.
and drag queens with more letters.
Yes, but
Sweetie,
is transvestite?
Sweetie, I was just
I'm
a
an
Catholic boy
author.
in Jefferson Parish who was jerking off like in the 70s, to Jan Brady. So,
What?
Is that right? You weren't really watching
Wait,
the Brady Bunch
what?
and jerking off,
No,
were you?
no, I'd wait
Seriously.
till later.
Okay. Okay, Fred.
Let me ask you, have you ever heard
Gee
Fred sing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" with acoustic guitar?
There's a segue
I
for
haven't.
you.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I didn't even think of that.
That's my favorite that I've ever
You
heard
like
you
that?
sing. Yeah, I love that
Okay,
song.
well,
Yes,
thank you very
the way
much.
you do it.
That's
I
a
love
time
it.
filler.
Right.
That's what happens when the guitars break.
Yeah.
Or something breaks, and it's like, okay,
Oh.
got to do something. I grab a mic and just go into like
Yeah.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something like that. I did it at Jazz Fest once.
You
I did
did?
it. What happened?
Everything
I'll
went
never
wrong?
forget. It was this Jazz Fest after Katrina. We're
Yes.
playing. It's like 50,000 people. Everybody's back in New Orleans. You know, it's celebrating. And our old guitar player, one of our old guitar players, got him. Paul Sanchez, he had this song that was popular called Hurricane Party. And we hadn't played it since Katrina because it was a funny song. It just wasn't funny anymore.
Right.
So we figured we'd try and play it just at Jazz Fest, kind of, you know, everything's getting normal again. So we play the song. We start the song. And it was, as far as I know, it was the only time in Jazz Fest history, where we're playing the song and all the power goes out. Like hurricane, So there we are in front of 50,000 people with no power, nothing. And so we're just waiting. It takes about 5 minutes to get the power back up. And I'm in show mode, which is go, 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 go. So I'm just like, kind of like, so I go up and say, okay, let's finish the song. And Sanchez was spooked by it. He's like, I'm not playing that song. I'm not playing that song. I was like, really? Okay. All right, well, give me the mic. And then I started singing the Somewhere Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz. And unbeknownst to me, behind me, there was some clouds parted and the
there was
light
a rain?
shone
Oh,
through.
my
And people
God.
were telling me about it later. It's like, yeah, the clouds parted. Yeah, I know.
Wow, that's cool.
Judy.
That is
I
cool.
forgot about it.
There's a lot of.
In fact, somebody played me that bootleg recently. I hadn't heard it. I'd never heard it before. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I forgot about
It
that.
is good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Thank you.
I love the way Fred becomes possessed when he sings. He looks like he's possessed with the song. His eyes roll back, you know, and he doesn't even see the crowd any longer.
Oh, yeah.
And you can feel that.
That's why it's so good.
Is that a good thing?
Yes, because you're actually there. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back in just a minute and talk about Melba's
Melba's, okay. Go back to Melba's.
right
okay.
after this. Okay, we're back on Happy Hour with Poppy
That was
Talker,
easy. That was
Fred
quick.
LeBlanc. That was the quickest break
was
you've
the
ever
world's
taken, right?
quickest commercial.
I know. And Scott Wolf Sr., who is the owner of Melba's Poboy shop on the corner of North Claiborne and Elysian Fields, the busiest Poboy shop in the entire world. And
America's
also
busiest
the
Poboy
author.
shop.
So, first of all, let's just.
Show in the book.
Oh,
Show 'em who's
What
in the
is-
book.
what's in
hey,
your
you
book?
know what? Mayor Cantrell came. Mayor Cantrell came to Melba's Monday.
Really?
Yeah, because she's in the book. She endorsed the book, and she's wonderful.
Is this a
We love her.
marketing strategy of some sort, or is this an actual?
No.
No. He's
Is it a
showing you this,
political
hoping
move?
that you don't go to Melba.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
so
Ian
she-
McNulty.
Yeah, Ian McNulty, right? They endorsed the book,
Okay.
and Mayor Cantrell. So she came by
Why,
Monday.
Poppy, why aren't you in this book?
She spent.
Nobody
she's in the
invited
next.
me.
She'll be in
She's in
volume
the
two.
next book.
Okay.
Sequel.
No
Volume
one
two.
We have a sequel
invited
coming,
me.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Mayor came by with an entourage. She spent 2 hours over there eating and everything. She loved it, and guess what?
The
next-
mayor of the city's got 2
Yeah.
hours to go have lunch at
Right.
Melba's.
And you know what? The
No
next
further
day,
questions.
unannounced, Tuesday, yesterday, she popped up again. Her and the driver. She needed more Melba's. I think she's coming every day now.
That's great.
Didn't you do some book launch for some local author?
Nice.
Hey, Fred's in the
look
book.
at that.
Fred's in the
Hey.
That
book.
guy.
Oh, it looks like I'm.
Are
we
you
got,
in
we
the
got all
book,
the
Grant?
we got all the superstars in our book.
Grant, are you in the book?
Yeah.
No, I never even heard of this book.
Yeah.
What is this book? Tell us what
This
it
is
is.
Melba's.
this is a story cookbook. It's a story cookbook, so it's not just a Melba's cookbook, but you see, it's a story
Story cookbook.
So
Okay,
it's a little
what's
bit about
the story?
It's the beginning of Melba's and how it was launched, and Mama Lois, who I was a celebrity chef, how we found Lois in Texas after Katrina, and we brought her back. A lot of our staff and management at Melba's has been with us for 20 and 30 years because a lot of that core is from the Wagner Meat days. A lot of people that work
Right.
for us.
Yeah.
So we have a very strong core management team here.
For anyone who hasn't been into Melba's, have you ever been in it, Poppy?
No.
It's an unbelievable place.
I've seen it.
It's a Poboy shop, but it's not just a Poboy shop.
It's 24/7, right?
It's open 24 hours a day.
24/7.
It's got a gigantic laundromat
Laundromat
on the
attached
left,
to it, correct?
and it's got a bar on the other side.
Yeah, daiquiris. We sell a lot of daiquiris.
I
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
great.
got but it's very hard to explain to someone who hasn't been there quite how busy it is.
Yeah, and it's a cultural collision. We truly get a good gumbo of people that come there, from tourists to all races and all socioeconomic backgrounds.
It's very diverse.
It's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
But-
I see. I told you
but
I was the
it's-
dumbest one of them all.
Exactly.
It's
But you make a good sandwich.
it's
Right.
extraordinarily busy the whole time. And
Right.
every single, it's like you've thought of every, you're sort of a marketing genius.
I don't know about that.
You've thought of every single thing you look at. The names of the washing machines, for example, in the laundromat, they all have a name. And
Yeah,
they all
they're
have like
they're
a celebrity
yeah,
attached
That's right.
to
They're all
them.
named after, each washer and each dryer is named after a local celebrity throughout New Orleans.
With their permission, by the way?
Well, the dead ones, without the permission.
Without their permission. So you just name like a
Yeah.
dryer. Poppy
Yeah.
took a dryer.
Right. And we got Harry Connick, Kermit Ruffins, and we got
They're not
a
dead.
lot of the local
So people can
celebrities.
say, I'm going to put my clothes in the Fred LeBlanc.
That's right.
Fred,
I have
do
a
you
dryer?
have
Is
a-
there-
Right.
Do I have a
You
dryer?
do. You
I do?
absolutely do.
Really?
You absolutely
Yes, they
do.
Scott
You
is
are-
exploiting your likeness.
Yes.
That's fine.
You
At
absolutely
least
do.
somebody is. Jesus.
Correct.
Unbelievable.
Yes,
So
it's good.
what made
I
you
would like my likeness exploited more.
Okay.
So why did you do that? Why do you call every dryer and washing machine after somebody?
Well, we have discovered that there's a lot of downtime when you're doing laundry, right? So people need something to do, and then they read a little biography of the local artist. So we're educating them about New Orleans culture.
Right.
So they're enjoying that. We've spilled that over to Melba as well, because all of our employees, they have photographs in front of the counters and everything where we highlight all of the employees. We've got their names and their hobbies and their kids and things like
Nice.
that. Yeah, so now we're making videos of each one of the employees and management. We're trying to make a living museum out the building where we bring all the employees to life. You scan, you take your phone, you put your camera up there, and it's a QR code, and the video comes to life. And it's them saying a few things, and then we get you to do it for you, for your
It's like
dryers.
Disneyland. It's like
It's like
Disneyland.
Disneyland.
there.
Right.
It's the
right.
Experience
Wow. You
Melba
could be-
Museum.
You could be an automaton
Right. So
and
So-
a dryer too.
yeah.
So,
just
but what
in-
happens there is that there are people, it's very diverse, Fred, you're absolutely right. There's people, all kinds of people from the neighborhood.
Correct.
There's people who have just left church. There's people who are completely high as hell. And everything in between.
That's
And
correct.
they're all somehow getting along. Remember the old hummingbird?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that vibe.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's like the old hummingbird. That's correct. Right.
So how did you do that? How did you manufacture
That kind of just happened. People, food does that to people. People sit down and share meals and share conversations. On the news we hear we're fighting with each other, but when you go in Melba's, everybody's getting along.
Everybody gets
It just
along
doesn't.
fine,
Yeah, it just doesn't.
But that doesn't,
resonate.
just like Poppy's look doesn't happen by magic. That didn't just happen by itself. You must have done something to create them, because all these
Sometimes
restaurants.
those things create
It's New
themselves.
Do you
Orleans.
think?
These
It's
things
New
happen
Orleans, you know?
naturally in New Orleans.
I mean, you met me right before I formed the band, and then you saw what happened with the band. I mean, I couldn't have planned all that. It just kind of happened. And
But look how many restaurants and how many bands there are. Your band has gone on its own, has its own,
Right.
life, and this restaurant has.
Sometimes you capture lightning in the bottle, and just like Fred and I said, if you listen to the land and you keep tweaking it and
Right.
evolving it,
Yeah.
you'll catch
But
it.
it's not a coincidence, because you've done it 3 times now. You did it with Wagner's Meat.
Well, I'm
you
just
did it with
repeating
chicken.
it, really. Melba's is only open since 2012, but really Melba's is a condensed version of 40 years of practice, right? So,
There's something about you, though, that's welcoming and non-judgmental, or something that brings all these people together
well,
and
that's
feeds them.
nice. Thank you.
You
Alan.
seem to
It's
enjoy.
also a good product for a fair price, which you don't get a lot of. I mean, even back when y'all were doing the grocery store stuff, I mean, one of the ways y'all stood out was by offering a really good deal in a neighborhood not full of good deals,
That's right, and I think it's the people that we hire as well. The staff that we have, Lois, our chef, these people that we hire, family-oriented people from the neighborhood. I'm not there much. They're the guys that are really producing the
Right.
magic. I'm kind of like a conductor.
But it's a Poboy shop where people actually have weddings.
Weddings, huh?
Oh, yeah,
it's a
that's
wedding
right.
venue,
Yeah,
isn't
People
it?
get married in the Poboy shop.
Right.
It's
yeah.
the craziest fucking place.
Yeah, we had some people from San Antonio last month that got married at the French Quarter and came to Melba's for the reception.
Really?
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's incredible.
It is. Fred, you want to play another song while we've
Sure,
got a
what do you
minute?
want to hear?
Grab your guitar.
What do you want to hear? Something up or something down or something?
Not down, no. I don't think so. Do you?
What do I do with my pick?
Poppy, have you got any requests?
No, I don't.
Are you really hot?
Somewhere.
No,
Do you think
I'm
it's-
always no. You can't look at me and tell I'm just hot.
You're just hot looking, I know, but I mean, are you hot?
Well, I enjoy a good fan.
The fan is nice.
The fan it's a lovely
Tim
experience.
Chaplin.
Tim Chaplin, absolutely.
Sure.
So you know,
I'll do that. I'll do it with a guitar.
Okay.
gee,
Okay.
All right.
So,
fine.
Poppy, we're talking about drag queens right in just a minute.
we can talk about drag queens till the cows come home.
I'd like to know something
The
about
cows
how
are
you
never
put-
coming home, Poppy.
I
Fred,
can't believe you finally broke that to me.
Exactly. Yes. What you want?
What are you thinking of playing here?
Let me see. He asked me to do something, so I figured I'd give it a shot.
Oh, is there a question from Scott?
Yep.
Okay, Scott, you want to introduce the song?
Sure, this is Somewhere Over the Rainbow by The Wizard of Oz.
By Judy Garland. So it's kind of bringing the whole drag queen thing. There we go.
Fred, you would make a great drag queen.
I would make the most hideous drag queen in the
I
world.
don't think so.
I can show you who
That's
you look
never
like.
going to happen.
It's in the book.
You're in that book too. Fred,
you-
you're in my book and you're in Bobby's book.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And
What?
your
Yeah.
book.
Would you dress up as a woman?
Not
No.
Sunshiny Day.
Why not?
Because I'm an ugly, ugly man.
No, but look at these. Take a look at this.
Beauty is in
Wait
the
till you
eye
see
of
some
the
of these people.
beholder.
Beauty is in the eye of beholder, and I see me, and I would see me, and I'm not an attractive man.
First of all, you're not.
Absolutely do pudding
You don't
tang.
think you're good looking, really?
I don't worry about stuff like that, Grant.
No, but you don't really think
You
you're ugly,
could.
do you?
Eh.
I think
I try not to worry
I
about
think
it.
you look great in one of these wigs. This
Yeah,
whole
how
look.
about Sunshiny Day? Wait till you see this girl.
That's her real name, Sunshiny Day.
Sunshiny
So how do they come up
Day.
with these names? Fred, what would your drag queen name be?
Here she is. Sunshiny Day.
Oh my
Thunder
God,
Titties?
Fred.
Now, you know Fred could do Sunshiny
Fred, you can
I'd
do
be
better
Thunder
than this. Look
Titties.
at-
Thunder Titties. That'd be me.
Yes.
Hey, Grant.
That could be
Yes.
you. Totally,
See, right.
Fred.
Grant,
That's me.
don't you think Cowboy Mouth is already a pretty drag name?
Oh, that's not a bad
Cowboy
idea.
Mouth.
Is it really?
It is kind of a drag name.
Pretty gay.
Okay, well, all right. How's that working for you, champ?
Pretty
Hang on a
well.
sec. What's the connection between gay and drag queens? Are all drag queens gay?
No.
You don't have to be a
and
gay
there's
guy.
drag kings.
What?
And there's women who dress like drag queens. And, you know, my...
Okay, so
my-
you don't have to be a gay guy to be a
No,
drag queen.
you
What
don't
are-
even
what are
have
the
to be a
rules?
guy to be a drag queen.
You don't have to be a guy.
No, you
even?
don't. No, it's the most amazing thing in the world. But sometime I'll have to take you to one of Vincento's draguations. He has draguated
Okay, first of all, who's Vinsanto?
my cover girl.
Okay, this person on the cover of your book.
This beautiful
Okay.
creature.
Okay, this is a guy dressed as a woman.
That's
You gotta get over
Vincento.
that, Grant.
Vinsanto.
It's
His name
Vince,
is-
over
Okay.
20 years
That's
ago.
pretty foundational to the culture down here, buddy.
Over 20 years ago.
This is a 20-year-old
he
photo.
This is a recent photo taken
Okay.
just for the book.
So 20 years ago, he started some sort of drag queen school.
In San Francisco, he began his own drag life at the Tranny Shack with
Okay.
very famous San Francisco drag queens like Sister Roma of the Sisters of Perpetual Mercy, and of course the most famous, Peaches Christ.
Now that's a good name. Pity that's gone. Peaches
Peaches,
Christ. That's
better than Cowboy Mouth, that's for
right.
Peaches
The name
Christ.
of the band
Who
is
was
Peaches
who was
Christ.
Peaches Christ?
Peaches Christ is
the-
one of San Francisco's
The most famous drag queen.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, so you don't have to be a guy at all to be a drag queen.
You don't have
How
to-
many women drag queens are there for real though?
It's fascinating, you know. Sometimes they'll sneak a woman in on me at one of my drag
this has
brunches.
happened to you?
Yeah, where I
You
am not sure.
You thought you were talking to a man dressed as a woman, but you're actually talking to a woman.
But
Just
it's
as a
very,
woman.
but up
very-
until like the very, very, very end, I'm never sure if those are really breasts or not. And then when it comes to breasts, oh dear Jesus!
Yeah.
A couple of my queens, Lana and Star Alexander.
Don't get worked up. You'll have another heart attack.
They're no, I got rid of the husband.
The husband was the one giving you the heart attack.
I'm healthy.
I see.
But they have this. It's like latex, rubber.
Do that again?
Like you could, okay? Like, and they wear these very low-cut dresses.
You can do it to Fred.
And they sit next to me, and I'm so amazed by the breasts. I just can't quite. They're
So you
mesmerizing.
can't tell whether they're fake breasts or real.
They look so good.
Where do you get them?
I don't know.
The
I
breast
don't
store.
ask.
Where else?
I'm sure
Amazon.
You can get everything on
Tbreast.com.
Amazon.
Now, what's the name of your store place? M
M.
Taylor.
Right, mtaylor.com.
Mbreast.com.
And breast.
Yeah.
You send a photo of yourself off on your cell phone of you
They'll
naked
tell
parading
them
around you.
D, double
And they send you back.
FG, and they'll send you back.
So
those
you
big
can't tell the difference
honkers.
between a man or a woman or fake breasts or real breasts. I'm a
No.
little worried about you.
No, darling, I can, but once in a while. You asked me about the women who dress like drag queens. There's one, I think her drag name is Tarot Card. Tarot something. And as God is my witness, I just wasn't quite sure what she was.
What's the psychological impetus for someone to do that? Do you think?
Oh, it's freeing. Like the women who do the drag king stuff, it's really it's hilarious, and some of it's so good. And, I mean, I think that there is something to be said when, they say, grow a pair. I've seen what can happen with some of the girls when
That's precisely why I would make a terrible drag queen, because that sounds like work.
Oh, grow a
And this
pair?
ensemble, just all of it.
I'm
It's
telling
just
you,
this
Fred.
ensemble,
Yeah.
like
Fred,
less
it's
than
just
38 seconds.
a little bit of corseting. You'd be shocked. The
I love my
bosom.
belly. I love
But
my belly.
You would be shocked at the cleavage that we could create.
Yeah, but mine's,
that's
covered,
how
in,
you do
mine's
it?
covered in fur.
A little bit doesn't. Well, now it is. Right across the street, they've got that European wax place.
Oh, yeah. And you know what?
The
That
first
European...
one's free.
Yes, exactly right. I was just going to say the same thing. It's
Shots
free the first
all
time.
around
We can all
and
go
waxing
after.
for
We'll all
all.
get shots and go get waxed after the show.
You're on your own there, Grant.
I went over there to find out what goes on there and said maybe we could do some sort of arrangement, because I was saying for months when they first opened, we're right across the street from the European Wax Centre. I thought, I'm mentioning this so much, we'll try and get something out of them. I go over there and they're like, well, it's free anyway. So for the first time you get waxed for free. Do you ever done that, Poppy?
Hell no.
Sounds talk about painful.
No, I don't
That
want
sounds
to.
horrible.
I'm not a very hairy girl to start off with,
Okay.
darling.
All right.
Most of the hair I have is on my head.
Okay.
But not all of it.
Look, Mom, no mustache.
Exactly.
Right. So that's lucky. You don't have to go
very
through that, because
fortunate.
it does sound...
I don't want to do that. It's frightening
It sounds
to me.
very painful to me, too.
I'm sure it's horrifically painful. I've seen them do it on TV. They all scream.
What do these guys do for body hair?
Jesus, they do all sorts of things. Some of them have it removed electronically for good. Many of them, and then there's a lot of shaving. And then Lana is so
Fred,
fascinating.
do you think this is uncomfortable, this kind of...
Well, yeah, it just sounds like work.
Well, what about this?
Being
This-
as gorgeous as she is takes a long time, and I'm just not into that.
Right.
And
Now,
I.
Fred, does this make you uncomfortable?
it doesn't
This
make-
is
wait,
cinnamon cream cheese rolls.
Is that her name, or is that an actual dish?
No, that is the picture of the drag queen I chose to pair with this recipe.
Okay, her name is not cinnamon cream cheese roll.
No,
it kinda
darling,
fit- it
but
kinda
have
fits.
you ever seen a picture that depicts that
That-
better?
That's not a coincidence, then. That.
No,
Oh, wait, we got some of
nothing
those
happened
balls over
by
there.
accident in the drag queen
And
book.
what
Speaking of
are
buttermilk
these...
drops,
You want a buttermilk
Yeah,
ball?
have a buttermilk
have a
drop.
buttermilk ball.
Thank
What do these drag queens
You want
think
two?
of you, Poppy?
They love me.
Grow a pair.
They love me. I'm their brunch boss.
all right, so introducing, what is it, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Oh, so yes. Scott, you're not doing a very good job of keeping control of this show here.
Right.
Okay, Fred, now you're eating a buttermilk drop.
But yeah,
They love me, my drag girls.
They do.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them a huge amount of publicity. I mean, does anyone else take them
And not only
seriously?
that, the day that we did those shoots and we were at Antoine's and we were at Brennan's, some of the girls looked at me and said, we never thought we'd be here in drag. It's like, get ready, girls. Wait till you see what's going to happen for Southern Decadence. And we had, oh my God, we had over a dozen drag queens at Brennan's. There was a line out the door. It was unbelievable.
Are you friends with these people? As well as just exploiting them for a book? And
I did not exploit them, and I would like to point out to you, frankly, that they all were paid for their images to be used.
I never even thought about that aspect.
A portion of the proceeds of this book in perpetuity is dedicated to Crescent Care.
Right.
Where's
That's
my
what's
money
called.
for the Poboy place?
Yeah.
Do I get free Poboys forever?
Crescent
you do.
Care, who used to be the No AIDS Task Force.
Yes, so this is actually all for a good cause. This is not
Absolutely.
all just a money-making racket.
No,
This is-
I couldn't have done a drag queen book for profit. That's not like my thing.
Right, now this money is all going to what was the No AIDS Task Force, now is
And
called
now it's
Crescent
called
Care.
Crescent Care
Which is
because,
a great...
well, it fits my particular profile even more than
Right.
perhaps the drag queens do, because since AIDS and HIV has become a chronic illness and not an automatic death sentence,
Right.
they expanded. That's when they changed from the No AIDS Task Force to Crescent Care, and their number one focus is on providing health care for the hospitality industry of New Orleans, the most underserved
That's great.
in all exactly
That's great.
the housekeepers,
did not
all
know that.
those
That's
people who do not. You can go
So
if you go to the clinic. There's a clinic. It's on, and they have everything. They have OBGYN. They have pediatrics.
Okay, so the second biggest problem we have in New Orleans after AIDS is
Healthcare.
healthcare for the...
It's not
hospitality industry.
It's not that AIDS is far from the biggest problem in New Orleans.
No, the next thing
That's
after we conquered that, now the
Oh,
next thing to conquer
is healthcare
is
for
healthcare.
everyone.
Oh, I thought we were talking about this is just for
I'm thinking
people in the
of-
hospitality
No,
industry.
this is
myself.
for everyone in this city has
Okay.
access to health care there. If you
Through
have
Crescent Care.
insurance, you can bring your insurance and they accept any insurance.
Okay.
If you don't have insurance, you bring your pay stub and they give you an affordable sliding scale.
How
If
come
you
we didn't
don't
know
have
about
a job and you don't have insurance, they are still going to treat you.
Okay, where
they have
is
a
this?
full pharmacy.
Where
on
is it?
It's on the corner of North Claiborne and Elysian Fields. Well, actually, it's just
It's
off.
It's right where you are.
Yes, it's a couple of doors down.
Come
They
on.
just built that building, yes.
That's awesome.
It just opened up.
So
What
after
a
people
great
go to the
location
clinic,
for
they
you.
can
You
get a
could put
sandwich.
stuff in the waiting room
Yeah,
there.
sure.
So
Yeah,
after
right.
you're feeling better, come
awesome.
get a
Right.
come get a half price po' boy.
Right, we have partnered with them on a few things.
You
right?
have?
We have, yes.
Hey, how about that? Well, this is a
was a good
full circle.
Yeah.
Fred, you got to play something before because we
Well,
have
he
to
asked
get
me to
out
do
of
this
here.
one,
now.
so I'll do this
Okay,
one
we're
real
doing
quick.
somewhere over the rainbow.
Doesn't mind, so what the hell? All right, it's going to get loud in here. Sorry, guys. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and every dream that you dare to dream, well, it better fucking come right true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and go to where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away from all the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly. If birds fly over the rainbow, why? Then why can't? And that's how it's done. Yay. Yay. Thank you, audience. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow.
I'm thinking of doing this professionally. What do you think?
Bravo, Fred. Fred, where do you live?
Huh?
Where do you live?
We need the address.
I have a house in Old Jefferson. I'm looking at a place in North Mississippi because I have children that live up there.
Right.
So, and my fiance lives in Alexandria.
Are you
So
getting
I
married
found-
again?
I am.
Are you doing it again?
Hard to believe, huh?
Okay.
What number is this?
7.
No shit.
That's not true.
You're going to
Okay,
get a
Last one. I'm not doing this again.
You're going to get a heart attack.
Huh?
You're going to get a heart attack.
So,
How many times have you been married?
Twice, but my grandmother. twice, but my grandmother always said third time's the charm. So
Yeah.
it's
Are you getting
possible.
married again?
You never know.
You do.
You never
You do,
know.
though. You
Well,
do know.
No,
Yes,
I don't.
You don't know.
I've told the man if he likes it, then he ought to put a ring on it.
Okay.
She's a nun. She's married to Jesus.
No,
I
I
doubt it.
am not.
That's hard to
I'm
imagine.
too close to Peaches Christ to be married to
Peaches
Jesus.
Christ, that is the best name I've probably ever heard of anybody. Hey, listen, we've got to get...
If this one doesn't work out, I'm going to marry a Poboy at Melba's.
Okay, so when are you getting married? I was wondering, are you going to live here? Are you dragging this?
My
Dragging
life has
it
always been
where?
in motion. My life has always been in motion, so I'll just
So,
go.
you're just
She's
gonna
from
keep
New Orleans,
moving.
but she
Okay.
lives up in central Louisiana.
Okay,
so.
and what I was thinking about that was, do you sing at home?
Huh?
Do you sing at home? Do you
Well,
have,
yeah.
do you have neighbors who listen
Yeah.
to this?
They hate me.
They
It's all good.
I bet they don't.
Nah, we get along fine.
We got to get the hell out of here. So where is Cowboy Mouth playing?
Next time Cowboy Mouth is playing, I think in New Orleans, it's going to be Gretna Fest on whatever that Sunday is. It'll be early, like 1
All right.
o'clock, and we're flying in from Illinois to do that show. But I think after that, the next time we're going to be playing is the Saturday night of Mardi Gras at Rock and Roll, and it's a lot of fun.
The Saturday night of Mardi Gras, that's next year.
Hey, man, I'm a busy guy. It's a big world out there, buddy.
So you're traveling all around the country and you weren't back in New Orleans until next Mardi Gras, other than Gretna Fest.
Well, the Gretna Fest, yeah.
So you got it going on. Very exciting.
I'm not going to stop
Okay.
till it drop.
Yeah, okay. And talking of drops, buttermilk drops are available at
Good segue,
Melba's.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure,
On
thank
the
you.
corner
Buttermilk
of
drops, which are
guys.
delicious.
North Claiborne and Elysian Fields, right
Fields.
across from Crescent Care, where you can go to get almost free health care.
Right.
I'm
We
glad
can
we
give
found
you,
that out.
we can get cholesterol and things like that. Go to Crescent Care and get.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
You've got it. If you've listened to this and you've never been to Melba's Poboy shop, it's totally worth checking out, even if you think you've seen everything in New Orleans. I take everyone who comes to visit me here down to Melba's
Thank
on
you.
Sunday morning. And the people who you see in that place on a Sunday morning having a Poboy or brunch or lunch, it's just an amazing collection of
It's
New
a great
Orleanians.
place to watch the Saints games. We get a lot of people in to watch
Really?
the Saints games.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it.
It's
yeah.
a great spot. And Poppy, the book is called Drag Queen Brunch.
It's called Drag Queen Brunch. It's available everywhere that you buy books. And anybody who would like to come join me at the next drag brunch or know where the next Poppy's pop-up fun's going to take place, they can go to poppytucker.com and check out the calendar. It's all there. And, of course, Grant, they can always listen to Louisiana Eats because I've been giving them little hints of where to find me in the second break.
It's all up there at poppytucker.com. Before we get out of here, thank you to Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue, where you can find fine lingerie, swimsuits, and gym clothes with style. You can find that on Jefferson Avenue. No, it's on Magazine Street, right near Jefferson Avenue. And thanks to the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. And if you'd like to join our Patreon family, or you can join Cowboy Mouth on Patreon, I see
Damn
as well.
Skippy.
Just go to patreon.com and search for either Cowboy Mouth or It's New Orleans Happy Hour. And for as little as $1, you can become a member of the Cowboy Mouth family or the Happy Hour
For $100,
family.
you can become a member of the Happy Hour.
Well, we could take $100, but we'd do it for as little as $1.
Did you say arts?
Did I?
You said arts or arts?
I don't know.
You said
Oh, the arts and
You said arts.
over here for the
Arts.
what did I,
I like
say?
the way that sounds.
Arts.
I'm a patron of the
How do you
arts.
say it? The Positive Vibrations Foundation create and encourage community through development and culture preservation, arts, music. How do you say it?
Thumbs up. I say
Arts.
it. I wish I said it as great as you did.
How do you say it?
I say arts.
Arts.
Arts, bro.
Arts.
Arts, bro.
Okay.
Arts and shit.
I'll go either way.
Arts and shit.
Thanks for joining us for another happy hour. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our music producer is Monique Pyle. Christian Unruh is our music consultant. And Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Ashley Griffith is our Facebook live feed director. If you listen to this podcast and you want to see it, the whole thing, go to It's New Orleans Happy Hour Facebook page and you can watch this whole train wreck happen live. Our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew Searock, and our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show, you can stay upright for about 60 minutes while drinking alcohol. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. You can also check out other shows that we make around here there, including Happy Hours and Out to Lunch. with Peter Asciuti live from Commander's Palace. Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker herself is also at itsneworleans.com, and so is our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can find other great Louisiana podcasts as well at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on a bunch of time-sucking social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On all of it, you're calling ourselves It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Happy Hour Facebook page. These photos are taken today by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thanks for subscribing to us. If your podcast app has a share option, try telling a couple of friends about Happy Hour. This show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production